Hello and welcome to It's Your Voice. I am your host, Anita DeFrancesco. This is episode number 18, and the topic this week is how do we live in the sensuality of life? And this program, It's Your Voice, was born out of the DonnaGentileStory.com, a true crime book I wrote on a woman who was silenced back in 1985 and murdered. You'll have to read the book on Amazon. And I'm keeping her voice alive with It's Your Voice. And the program is dedicated to all the voiceless women of the world. May your voice be heard. This is a compilation of subjects under the headings mindfulness, sexuality, and relationships. Getting on with our topic today, how do we live in the sensuality of life? Just what is sensuality? How do you hold on to the senses that we're gifted with? How do you live them? Well, most people think sensuality involves just the bedroom. It's understood in terms of just sexuality, which isn't so. Our senses are the liveliness and the passion that we have for life. How much of life do you enhance yourself to be a part of? How much do you allow yourself to receive the pleasures of life and make love to life? One of the things about sensuality is if you're living with hate and anger and a judgmental type personality, or if you are living in the denial type character, a lot of this energy would not be sensual. In actuality, it would freeze the senses, numb the psyche into believing that your body is not allowed or is limited. And so you're not giving yourself the permission to enjoy the senses of life. And sometimes, depending on what we've been raised with in life or what our experiences were, whether you have addictions or different types of challenges emotionally, mentally, that you limit yourself from enjoying life. And really having your sensuality is about enjoying life, and it comes from the body, the somatic body. Laughing, having laughter and music and enjoying nature is all part of sensuality. One of the things I find that's a profound way that inspires me to be sensual is dance movement, improvisational dance. And when I embody my senses and my soul, I become this person that's alive and free and liberated and happy and joyful, and it comes from the body. And so that's how I live in the sensuality of my life. I dance through life. So let's talk about what sensuality is. It's a gratification of your senses. Being mindful to the body is where you begin. Being mindful to the body. Now I know the brain cells are throughout your body. So if you can tap into this part of your body, the somatic body, and allow the vulnerability to be there, then you will have a sense of mindfulness in the body. So we're all born sensual. It's just that how productive are you with your senses and sensuality? How productive are you? The more open the senses are, the more successful you are, the more productive you are in your career choices, in your everyday life, in your energy, in the way you move yourself, in the way where you live, even in your relationships and romance, all of that, in the relationship to your friends, to your family. Being sensual is the creative to your soul. So if you want to be creative in the choices you make in life, in the things you do every day, you need to open to your senses. Can we lose our sensuality? Absolutely, we can lose our sensuality because we may be faced with a lot of different experiences that leave us frozen, that leave us with irregular behaviors, that leave us with armor. And it takes a lot of surrendering and releasing the shame and the hiding to open up to that voice of your senses. So remember, it's not about sex, but about creativeness. Sensuality is a health modality, whether you believe it or not. Without sensuality, more medical disease sets in your body. you can be faced with cancer, kidney disease, all types of diseases. You may be the type to have a low immunity, a weaker immunity, get colds quicker, get viruses more easily, because you're shutting down the senses. And the senses need to live. They need to be alive. They're organic. It's the organism of the body. It's about developing your capacity to enjoy life and all its pleasures, making love to life. And whatever it is that you're doing, I wake up, we have a lot of chores, but I build in a sense of discipline and a sense of healthy boundaries so that I can go on and do the things that could be tiresome after a while, like going to the gym every day or going to your jobs. But if you turn on the senses, you become alive to the happiness that's living in your body. And so now you're governed by the happiness and joy that's living in your body. So now you're happy going to the gym. You're happy going to work. You're happy cleaning the house and cooking and dragging the kids to the camp or the soccer game. But if you do all of these things with an attitude, remember, it's the attitude that keeps the hate in the body, and that limits your potential. So owning your sexual spiritual wholeness is what it's really about. But your senses are part of the chi, and the sexual energy needs to be with the body, mind, soul, spirit, emotion, and sex. It needs to be aligned as one. Because if we cut the sex out, we're cutting the chi, and that is the power of the entire human condition. Remember, that's how you're born. That's how we come into this world. Sensual is opening up to the higher senses, to your higher power, to staying present and aware. It emanates from the heart space. So how to be sensual? Well, one way to be sensual is pamper yourself, gift yourself. Have an abundance of connection, love, adoration, and healing. Even if you're just loving the old lady or old guy sitting on the bench every day, and you walk by them and you send them love and give them some vibrations of your peaceful happiness, that in itself is a way to keep the sensualness alive. It's measured, of course, by your self-worth. Now, if you have a low self-esteem, getting back to that low self-worth, you're not going to be able to be who you actually are. So you need to do the work. You need to get in psychotherapy. Tantra wisdom is my work. You need to get in the classes and allow yourself to unfold. Primal scream work, opening up to Dr. Wilhelm Reich's work, orgone energy breathing therapies to help you release the armor and the split that you may be living with. Accepting and being in delight in whatever it is you receive. So people give you gifts, or you're just in the company of other people and you're having conversation, or you're receiving a compliment or giving a compliment. It's about receiving. Sensuality involves receiving the delight of life, receiving the compliments, the love. It's about receiving love, folks. That's all it is. And then you open up, you expand, your body becomes pulsating inside your cells, your organs. And this is how you mediate the disease process. So the universe is fully received by you. It's collective. And it embraces you. It is the gift of life, your sensuality. Oh, let's take a breath, folks, here. Now, sensuality starts with a heightened sense of awareness, of course, pleasure, not just in the bedroom, as we said. But some of the things that people think that it just lives in sexuality and that they need to do sex to have the senses open, which in order to have greater sex, you need to have the full body senses open. So it is a precursor, like an elective, folks, to sexuality, to good sex, making love to life and the capacity to enjoy all that it offers. So embracing and collectively loving and receiving. And then when you meet that special person and you want to have intimate bonding, open, liberated sexuality, it will be better. But most people are having sex and it's limited. It's blocked, it's armored, and they're just basically going through the motions, or some emotion is there, but most sex isn't as good as it could be because people are deadened in the senses. Now for women, getting on the senses, we're so objectified in the cosmopolitan world of sexualness. Women should be in their sensual self without apology or shame, enjoying the pleasures of whatever life, enjoying the pleasures of life, whatever that could be for you. But there is no right, there is no wrong. And a lot of women are faced with this shame and this judgment because they want to be who they are. And even if it is not being sexual, just being who you are is sensual. So if someone wants to be who they are and fully express themselves, or dress a certain way, or do a certain thing, or get out of the box, so to speak, then that is a sensual, liberated, spiritual move. But for women, that could be judgmental because she's a woman. Now, getting into self-empowerment. It begins with self-love, acceptance, understanding your uniqueness. We're all unique, so we all have a unique, fascinating, inspiring, compelling, profound understanding of who we are. So we need to tap into that. Let that govern you, that uniqueness. Here's a question: what brings you joy? Again, joy is how happy you are when you're happy and alive. That is your senses coming alive. So what brings you joy? Maybe we start with a list there. Being honest with yourself, letting go of the binding self-denial behaviors, and connecting to the nature is very sensual. Connecting to music, connecting to opera, connecting to fine orchestra music, fine art, connecting to all of these beautiful things is opening up to your sensual nature that you were gifted and born with. It's your innocence. Checking in with your senses. How do you check in with your sensual senses or the senses? So if you want to inbox me, I can show you how to do a body scan. For example, I sit down in a chair and I close my eyes and I scan the body from the ankles to the knees. I'm feeling maybe aloneness. I'm feeling heaviness. Maybe I'm feeling ungroundedness. So this is how you start to talk to your body. So we have to come in and start to do the somatic work. And of course, taking part in things that are physical, such as dance, movement, improvisation, which I do and I teach. Living vibrantly, in taking up yoga and martial arts and things of that nature. Even getting massages and things like that are very sensual to getting your nails done, shopping, buying pretty clothing, even for men, women, allowing yourself, adorning your nature. Owning your sensuality. And how do we own it? Well, we don't have to wait for someone to come along to be linked to anyone at all, to own our own feelings. What I'm going to suggest is to have and develop, harness a relationship to your own feelings. So cultivating, and I do inner child work, cultivating this relationship to your own feelings, bringing that together. And once you are connected to your own feelings, you're working with the inner child, and together you're fulfilling that, and you're bringing that split together. Embracing creatively, sensually with the self. Cooking, eating a great meal is very sensual because you're allowing your taste buds to open up and receive the beautiful food, and taking baths or walking on the beach. Sensuality can be the powerful life force that is lacking in your life. So it's about getting to this deeper connection of the self, being spontaneous, being alive. What's the portal between creativity and confidence? Allowing yourself, first of all, having the presence, the awareness, the openness, the connectedness, to actually allow yourself to experience and live your vulnerable side, your creative side. Taking that moment to delve into your truth. So sensuality lives. Where does it live? It lives in silence, fluidity, calmness, slowing down, letting go of the push and pull, letting go of the arguments. Sensuality lives in a silence. And when you can listen and hear your silence, you are tapping into the senses. One way to cultivate sensuality is to bond with the everyday people that you come in contact with. The everyday people in the market, the everyday people at work, or wherever you are for that day. Looking in someone's eyes, gazing and making that eye connection with someone. That keeps helping the heart space to open. Very fluid, again, is the sensual being. How do you experience or notice body sensation? Well, one way to do that is to feel the texture of sand while walking on the beach, barefoot. Allow your feet to feel and connect to that texture of the sand rubbing up against your feet. Remember, the joy is in your body. Now, in the relationship, talking about the relationship, the sensual, the energy has to be coming from both directions if you're in a relationship, so that you serve both parties, the male, female, the yin yang. And once you learn the authenticity, then that you're able to sense that in your partner, there's an emotional support that starts to embrace itself. This emotional support starts to come and become a part of the connection that you have with your partner. You're discovering the authentic sexual expression through the sharing of the energies. So being emotionally supported is reinforcing and supporting and loving and being there, attention, intention for your partner. So here is one thing that I may just leave you on. There's a lot more that I have to talk about, but what I'm going to leave you on, sensual is not always sexual, and sexual is not always sensual. What it's really about is how much are you willing to feel of yourself. Thank you for tuning in to It's Your Voice. I have been your host, Anita DeFrancesco, and this is episode number 18. And our topic today is, how do you live in the sensuality of life? I can be found at tantrawisdom.com. My Live Free book is on Amazon, and the DonnaGentileStory.com, a true crime book, also available on Amazon.